Single dad's blind date takes an amazing turn. He discovered love with a poor college girl at FIR. Adam paced in his living room, his mind racing. This was at his first blind date in over a decade. The caffeine of his coffee was still running through his veins as he glanced at the clock. He felt trapped between two worlds. On one hand, there was the life he'd meticulously crafted as a single father, a routine filled with school runs, work obligations, and familiar comforts. On the other, the uncertain thrill of new romance echoed with his friends' excited chatter in his ears, beckoning him to step into uncharted territory. But then there was Lily, his little girl. Her laughter still rang in his heart. Would she understand? Could this shift in his life affect her in ways he couldn't anticipate? The notion of putting her needs behind his own turned his stomach. As he made his way to the cafe, nerves twisted inside him, disparate emotions tumbling like a roller coaster. Would Mia want to meet him? Was he foolish to think someone like her would be interested in a middle-aged accountant with a hectic, often exhausting, life? And whose agenda was this? Was it his friend's, or had the longing for connection stirred within him, too? He hardly recognized this Adam who craved excitement and spontaneity. Inside the local coffee shop, college students buzzed around him, their lives brimming with potential. He could already feel the weight of expectation settling on his shoulders, a heavy cloak that threatened to suffocate. Taking a deep breath, he scanned the room. She had been described as lively and cheerful, yet all he felt was his heart racing with anxiety. Amid the chatter, he fought the reflex to retreat back into his responsibilities. This was supposed to be fun, yet every nerve in his body shouted the opposite, reminding him of the life he'd built for Lily. Would she be comfortable with him falling for someone so young, someone who still struggled with her studies? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. When he saw Mia enter, his breath caught in his throat. She was radiant and disarming, but the vibrant pulse of excitement that surged through him was tainted with uncertainty. Her laughter was infectious, yet to Adam, it felt like a chasm between them was pulling wider with each innocent joke. The echo of laughter around them heightened the pressure inside him, weighing down his thoughts. Who did he think he was? A 40-something single dad dating a college student at this bustling cafe, while Lily was home waiting for him, oblivious to the uncertainty he grappled with? As the conversation shifted from slight awkwardness to flow, he could almost hear the ticking clock of societal judgment echoing louder in his mind. In this whirlwind, guilt began to seep in, eroding the joy of the moment. The reality of what lay ahead loomed like a storm cloud heavy with rain. The more he connected with Mia, the more he felt tethered to invisible chains, pulling him back home to Lily. The contrast between their worlds hung in the air, suffocating and palpable. As laughter filled his ears, he sensed a turning point approaching, a moment that could either solidify their bond or shatter it entirely. There was no easy way forward, just the heavy weight of the choices he would need to make amidst the tension, leaving Adam questioning if he could ever strike the right balance. Would his heart lead him into light or darkness? The stakes felt impossibly high, and as he glimpsed Mia's warm smile, he felt the fray at his edges tighten, wondering where this path would lead. Adam caught himself tensing at every glimmer of Mia's smile, a beacon of dynamism he didn't know he craved. Buried under his responsibilities, he had forgotten how electrifying laughter could be, how it could tether hearts in unexpected ways. Yet, a gnawing anxiety clung to him. What would this mean for him and Lily? Are you okay? Mia's melodic voice broke through his swirling thoughts, her brow furrowed with concern. Yeah, just a little distracted, Adam replied, forcing a chuckle that felt foreign on his tongue. As he attempted to divert attention from his unease, he was seized by the stark realization: distraction was no longer a shield but a mere acknowledgement of his internal chaos. School can be overwhelming, she mused, her eyes narrowing playfully. But I bet you know all about balancing acts with all those responsibilities you juggle. The mention of balance struck a chord. While he had always dreamt of being the dad who could juggle everything, the weight of the world felt heavier now. He was torn between two identities, the devoted father and the man who yearned for companionship. "I try," he replied, feigning nonchalance, though the term try gnawed at him. The last few years had been about surviving rather than thriving. Establishing a rhythm he thought he had mastered now danced mockingly around him. Conversation ebbed and flowed with humor and flirtation, yet beneath the playful banter lurked deeper currents he couldn't deny. He admired Mia's passion, her zest for life, the very things he felt he had lost somewhere along the road to fatherhood. They began discussing their dreams. Mia's aspirations shimmered like starlight, vivid and unfettered, while Adam found himself grappling, hesitating before sharing a piece of his own life. "I always wanted to travel before Lily came along," he admitted, a sudden vulnerability spilling forth. "Travel? That sounds amazing. Where would you go?" Mia's interest seemed genuine, but as he gazed into her eyes, a bitter pang shot through him. "Somewhere far away," he murmured. "But the closer I got to love, the more I realized how fleeting time can be." It was a confession, one that echoed not just in their exchange but in the lonely chambers of his heart. Mia tilted her head, processing his admission. "It's never too late to find new adventures," she offered. "Since I started college, my life has been a wild adventure. I re-evaluated what I really want and went for it." Something shifted within Adam, her words ignited a longing to rediscover a version of himself buried under layers of self-doubt and obligation. Was it possible to embrace adventure in the middle of a busy life as a father? "There's something exhilarating about that idea," he replied, contemplating the notion of independence juxtaposed against his unwavering commitment to Lily. "Do you think it's selfish to want something for myself?" Mia's expression softened. "Not if it helps you as a parent. A happy dad can only make Lily happier." As her words hung in the air, Adam wrestled with their resonance. Could the pursuit of happiness lead to a better version of himself for both him and Lily? Just as excitement flickered like a candle within him, the ambience shifted. The cafe grew louder, engulfing them in a wave of life that felt almost suffocating, the clinking cups echoing like alarms of uncertainty. In a moment that felt suspended in time, he gazed into Mia's eyes, those vibrant orbs brimming with potential and ambition. What effect would this connection have on their divergent lives? Would they build something remarkable, or would distance sever a bond that barely had a chance to form? The questions lingered, heavy and unanswerable, as he felt the impending decision on the horizon, a choice that felt like it could irrevocably shape their futures. "Adam, can we meet up again?" she asked suddenly, her face illuminated with hope. His heart raced, balancing on the edge of possibility and fear. "I'd like that," he answered, but deep inside, shadows loomed. Could he truly afford to bring someone else into his life? Would the potential for something beautiful only lead to more turmoil? As they parted, the weight of opportunity and anxiety mingled within him. Could adventure and responsibility coexist, or was he meant to choose one over the other? He had set foot on this path, but where it would lead remained uncertain, leaving Adam yearning for clarity in the chaos. The implications of his choices loomed over him as he walked away, a longing for adventure humming in his chest. The night air bit at him, but his thoughts spiraled uncontrollably, anticipating the next chapter of his life. What awaited him on the horizon, and would he dare to face it? The following week, the promise of another meeting with Mia ignited a spark within Adam. Each day in the lead-up became a delicate balance of anticipation and dread. He meticulously calculated his schedule, wrapping work commitments around the small window of time he could allocate to her. This new chapter felt like an exhilarating tightrope walk, with each step balancing the weight of his responsibilities against the desire for personal fulfillment. In the reflective moments between tasks, Adam mused over Mia's zest for life. Her adventurous spirit was a stark contrast to his own. He had traded spontaneity for predictability, yet her presence awakened something deep within him, a longing for experiences he had all but abandoned. He often caught himself daydreaming of far-off places he once envisioned traveling to, imagining the freedom that came with embracing the unknown, yet the shadow of guilt loomed large. He found himself questioning the implications of nurturing a new connection. Would he be neglecting Lily, a thought that gnawed at him relentlessly? He reminded himself of Mia's words, a happy dad could indeed make for a happier daughter. But the delicate balance between pursuing personal happiness and maintaining responsibility felt less like a balancing act and more like a minefield. That evening, Adam stood in front of the bathroom mirror, surveying the weariness etched into the corners of his eyes. The simple act of grooming was laden with significance. He wanted to present the best version of himself, not just for Mia but for the person he hoped to become. Wasn't it time he donned the mantle of his own happiness? When the time finally arrived for their rendezvous, Adam felt both eager and apprehensive. They met at a cozy little bistro, the air thick with anticipation. As he entered, he spotted Mia immediately, her smile radiant against the backdrop of muted decor. As their eyes connected, a rush of reassurance flooded him. "Hey! You made it," she beamed, standing to greet him. "It's hard to say no to a chance at adventure," he replied, trying to match the enthusiasm in her voice. As they settled in, conversation flowed naturally, laughter punctuated their exchanges, wrapping around them like a warm embrace. They shared stories that ventured into dreams unsaid and the possibilities that lay ahead. Adam felt freer with each passing minute, as if barriers he had built around his heart began crumbling under the weight of shared vulnerability. "What if we took a spontaneous trip one weekend?" Mia suggested, her eyes sparkling with mischief. "I know a great spot just 3 hours from here, perfect for a little escape." The suggestion sent a shiver down his spine. While adventure beckoned, his parental duties screamed louder. "I don't know," he stammered. Fear took hold, battling against the thrill that surged within him. "What if it doesn't?" Adam, you can't let fear hold you back," Mia interrupted gently. "You deserve to explore. We can plan it so it works with your schedule." As he looked into her earnest eyes, something within him swayed, an undeniable urge to seize opportunities rather than let them slip away. It was more than just a fleeting whim, it represented the journey he wanted to embrace, battling the inertia of his previous life. However, just beneath the surface of his excitement, a familiar anxiety lurked. What would Lily think? Could he afford to carve out space for himself without appearing selfish? It was a fragile dichotomy, a pool of dreams tinged with the harsh reality of his commitments. Then the weight of one particularly profound realization washed over him. This wasn't just about him. It was about Lily, about redefining his sense of self so that he could positively shape her world too. "We could plan something," he mused, surrendering to the idea like a leaf darting down a swirling stream. "I'll just need to see how it would fit into everything." As they delved deeper into their plans, the world outside faded, and Adam could almost taste freedom on the horizon. But beneath the thrill, questions loomed larger than ever. Could he really embrace both parts of himself, the devoted father and the man yearning for connection? After their evening together ended, Adam left the bistro still tinged with excitement. Yet, just as he approached his car, his phone buzzed ominously. The message from Lily's school was clear: "We need to talk urgently." His heart sank, sudden dread blanketing the exhilaration he had just experienced. What awaited him at home, and how would this twist alter the path he had only just begun to explore? As Adam gripped the steering wheel of his car, his mind raced through an array of possibilities regarding the court summons awaiting him at home. Panic prickled at the edges of his consciousness. This wasn't just another call from the school. Something felt distinctly off, urging him to prepare for confrontation. When he arrived home, he took a deep breath before stepping through the door. The familiar scent of Lily's favorite pizza wafted through the air, mingling with the indifferent silence that lingered. He didn't have the luxury of time to process his emotions. He needed to gauge Lily's state first. "Hey, pumpkin! You here?" he called out. The guilt of pursuing his own happiness began to rear its head again. Yet, there was no answer. As he ventured further into the small house, he found her sitting quietly at the kitchen table, staring blankly at the half-eaten slice of pizza before her. Her usual vibrancy was diminished, shadows played beneath her eyes, giving her a far more mature facade than he had come to expect. "Lily?" Adam approached cautiously. "What's wrong?" She blinked slowly, her lips trembling slightly. "Dad, I didn't want to tell you yet, but I think I'm going to have to change schools." The floor seemed to drop from beneath his feet. What are you talking about? Is this because of something at school? Did someone it's just that mom called. She's moving, and she wants me to go with her. As she spoke, the clarion of her voice faltered, cracking open a door he had pushed tightly closed for far too long. Disappointment washed over him. It felt like the very foundation of his existence was being eroded. You're the one who wanted to stay here, Lily. I thought we had made a plan. Things change, Dad, she replied, her voice firmer now but filled with sadness. Mom's getting settled again after everything that happened. I don't want to go, but fighting against the tide of overwhelming emotions, Adam wrestled with what needed to be said next. And is that what you want? To leave everything behind? I don't know, she whimpered, burying her head in her arms. What if she's right? What if it's better for me? The question struck a nerve. He realized in that moment that this wasn't merely a child's decision, it was a reflection of the uncertainty that permeated their family dynamic. Adam's choices, his moments with Mia loomed over him like a heavy fog, threatening to suffocate them both. He felt a well of frustration mingle with fear as he searched for words of comfort. Lily, you are my priority. You have to know that. I need you here. Doubt seeped through his declaration. It's not easy to balance everything, especially when it comes to you. A silence settled between them, heavy and static, before Lily raised her gaze, her expression softer but distinctive in its understanding. Then be here. Like, really here. You don't have to figure everything out alone. Mom might be wrapped up in herself, but you don't have to be. Her words flickered like a beacon, piercing through the fog of his contemplation. He suddenly realized the journey he embarked on with Mia could coexist harmoniously with his role as a father. Instead of weighing one against the other, he could integrate both into his identity. But first, he needed to confront the shadows lurking in his choices. Maybe we can make this work. I want to plan something with you, as a team. That trip I was thinking of? His thoughts drifted to Mia, to adventure, and how he could share that sense of exploration with Lily too. Are you serious? Lily's brows raised in disbelief momentarily before a spark lit her eyes. Absolutely. A trip together could be our little adventure. Start fresh. Adam could see her spirit begin to revive, and the thought resonated within him too. But just as a semblance of resolve began to take hold, his phone buzzed again, jolting him back to reality. It was a message from Mia, asking to meet again soon. A part of him thrilled at the prospect, yet the looming tension of Lily's decision gnawed relentlessly at his thoughts. Would he be able to juggle everything? And more importantly, could he truly bring his daughter aboard on this new journey? He faced an unequal battle within himself between nurturing the budding relationship with Mia and maintaining his primary role as a father. As night draped itself over their home, Adam caught his reflection in the darkened glass. Discontent and fear mixed with resolve. He realized that his pursuit of happiness was not just personal. It was a shared exploration, one where he could prove that love, whether paternal or romantic, could inspire a new chapter for them all. The question now loomed. Could he forge a different relationship with Lily and find a way to embrace this evolving identity? The moment born of vulnerability was pivotal. Both father and daughter stood at the precipice of a new beginning. Would they leap together, or would fear hold them back? He glanced at Lily, who now seemed more open than before, as if inviting him to take that step with her. Either way, the journey forward was fraught with uncertainty, and an adventurous determination began to bubble inside him. As he prepared to voice his ideas, another text alert shattered the stillness, this time displaying Mia's words. What if we started planning that trip, but your daughter joined? His heart raced. Could this be the chance he needed to redefine not just his life, but their entire future together? The intertwining paths were set to collide, but how? Adam's heart raced as he stared at the message illuminated on his screen. Could Mia truly be suggesting they include Lily in their plans? The words felt daunting, yet exhilarating, balancing precariously between his desire to unite his family and the fear of disappointing Lily with expectations. Dad? Lily's voice broke through his thoughts, her eyes darting between him and the phone. He could see that glimmer of curiosity. She wanted to understand what was happening, to explore the potential of this trip together. It's just a message from Mia. He held the phone between them, pointing out the essentially hopeful tone. She wants to include you in our plans. Lily raised an eyebrow, crossing her arms defensively. Does she really? Or is she just trying to be nice? The skepticism in her voice made Adam face the reality that this was bigger than one family trip. It was an intersection of old wounds and new beginnings. Can I be honest with you? I think she really means it. This could be good for us, good for you, too. She hesitated, the weight of conflicting emotions ready to spill over. But what if it doesn't work out? What if it just makes it worse? He understood the fear, he felt it himself. We don't know unless we try. Just like you and your school situation, things change. We have to be willing to embrace that. I want to make memories with you, Lily, not just navigate the hard stuff. As he spoke, a sense of purpose surged within him. He needed to model bravery, to show her that confronting challenges head-on was an essential part of becoming who they both wanted to be. All right, Lily conceded, but her voice trembled slightly. But it better not be awkward. I don't want to feel like a third wheel. A small smile crept across Adam's face. Let us just focus on having fun. It will be an adventure, just like we planned. That decision buoyed his spirits, bridging the chasm that had formed between them. He sensed a flicker of trust glowing in her eyes, and the realization that perhaps they could venture into this together rejuvenated him. He drafted a quick response to Mia, his thumb working the screen with newfound urgency. The possibilities of family bonding, shared experiences, and escapism danced in his mind. Okay. Let us set up a time to talk about the details, he typed back, sending it before inhaling deeply. The following days blurred together, a precarious mix of planning and introspection. Adam found himself making lists, revisiting old family traditions he once deemed necessary, while figuring out how to integrate Mia and Lily into an evolving family dynamic. Despite his analytical nature, he felt more like a social chemist experimenting with the right combination of elements to achieve harmony. On the day of their meeting, anticipation was thick in the air. Adam glanced at Lily, who had taken to wearing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. She seemed simultaneously eager and anxious. It was a tangible tightening in his gut. This was as much about his growth as it was about hers, a moment that could elicit courage or stifle it with doubt. Are you ready? He asked, tipping his chin toward the door. Lily offered a half-hearted shrug, but the flutter in her gaze suggested she was at least open to the possibility. As they pulled up to the small cafe where they would meet Mia, Adam's heart fluttered with a cocktail of emotions. He experienced this rush of fear, excitement, and a hint of guilt that lingered beneath the surface. Would being open with Lily about Mia create a more significant division, or could it morph into the unity they both craved? They entered the cafe, the warm smells of coffee mingling with laughter and chatter surrounding them like an embrace. They spotted Mia at a table, her face brightening as she waved. Adam felt a swell of affection and nervousness, the moment feeling monumental. See? This isn't so bad, he reassured Lily as they approached. Still, as Mia met Lily's gaze, Adam couldn't shake the nagging doubt that danced in the back of his mind. Could this joint effort bind them together as a unit? Or would it unveil fractures he had yet to confront? Hey guys, I'm so glad we're finally doing this. Mia's enthusiasm echoed as they sat down. I have the perfect itinerary in mind for our trip. But Adam's focus shifted, a sharp realization cresting in his mind. Would he be able to approach their unfolding relationship with the same enthusiasm he'd summoned for this trip? The moment felt critical, and it was time to confront what truly scared him, the fear of an authentic connection. Just as he prepared to share his thoughts, Lily caught his eye, a challenge lingering behind her cautious optimism. Her unvoiced question echoed louder than any words, will you choose us? Or will you walk away again? The pressure of her gaze sent him spiraling into a deliberation. Could he find his way through this maze, choosing both love and fatherhood in a single breath? The answers loomed over him like thick fog. Uncertainty clung with tenacity. Now, more than ever, the paths before him were diverging, a critical juncture of choices ahead. As he opened his mouth to speak, doubt wrestled with determination. Would he reveal the depth of his feelings or sidestep vulnerability once more? The cafe noise faded into a distant hum, and in that tense moment, Adam found himself standing at yet another crossroads. What awaited him next on this journey of self-discovery? Adam felt the air thicken around him, the weight of Lily's gaze pressing on his chest like a vice. For a fleeting moment, he considered deflecting, retreating into the safety of casual conversation, but something stirred within him, urging him to confront the challenge head-on. This was not merely about a family trip, it was about redefining their future together. Lily, I know it's complicated. His voice was steadier than he anticipated. But I want you to know that I am committed to making this work not just for this trip, but for us. No more running away from hard conversations. Mia's smile had faltered slightly as she sensed the tension. Adam caught her eye, silently asking her permission to navigate this delicate moment with authenticity. She nodded, an understanding flaring in her gaze. Lily rolled her eyes slightly, a cautious scoff escaping her lips. Sure, Dad. But how do I know you won't just go back to being distant the minute things get uncomfortable? The challenge hung in the air, electrifying and daunting. This wasn't merely a question about Mia or the trip. It dug deep into their relationship, peeling back layers that had formed over years of misunderstandings. With a sharp inhale, Adam felt the pulse of vulnerability coursing through him. I can't promise that everything will be perfect, he began, the honesty spilling out like a long-haunted confession. But I want to promise you this, I'm here. I want to be here not just physically, but emotionally. I've made mistakes, and it's time to own up to them, to you, to Mia, and to myself. He could feel his heart hammering in his chest, each word a step deeper into unfamiliar territory. The cafe noise faded further into the background as Lily's gaze scrutinized him, searching for authenticity in their parent-child connection that had been so fraught with complexity. What do you really want, Dad? She asked, her voice softer but no less probing. The question caught him off guard. What did he want? He suddenly felt the weight of every choice he'd made thus far in their lives cascading down on him. He had tried to find solace by avoiding the hard things, compartmentalizing feelings instead of confronting them. But here, with Lily and Mia, clarity began to emerge, shaped by raw honesty. I want to be close to you, to figure out what this new family could look like, to share experiences that really matter, things we can both carry with us. The admission felt liberating. It was a wall he had constructed being dismantled, moment by moment. Lily processed his words, the tension in her shoulders softening. The flicker of mistrust continued to linger, but something seemed to shift. Okay, she said, with a measure of cautious optimism. It's kind of scary, but I guess if you're trying I can try, too. Mia breathed a sigh of relief, her smile returning as the palpable tension lessened, replaced by a tentative agreement to move forward, together. Excellent. I have so many ideas for our itinerary, she chimed in, excitement bubbling as she re-engaged the conversation. The dynamics felt different now, charged with a shared understanding that had previously eluded them. As the conversation shifted toward details of the trip, Adam found himself increasingly invested. Planning together felt like building a bridge. He was no longer simply a bystander in his own family's narrative. He was crafting it, layer by layer, but beneath his renewed determination lay an undercurrent of questioning. What truly lay ahead? Would their relationship withstand the rigors of new experiences, or would old fears intercept the progress they had just begun to establish? Each chuckle and shared glance brought a flicker of hope, yet Adam knew the journey was layered with uncertainty. He glanced at Lily and Mia, both engaged in planning their adventures, and he felt the thrill of possibility blending with an anxiety that wrung in his mind. This was only the beginning. The cafe door swung open, allowing a gust of wind to flutter through the room, a reminder of the world outside yet beckoning them forward. In that moment, Adam made a silent promise, the promise to remain steadfast in his commitment to family, brave enough to confront whatever shadows lay ahead. But even as hope stirred within him, he sensed impending complications looming just beyond the horizon, threats yet unfathomed that would test the bonds now forming. As discussions of potential travel spots fluttered around them, his thoughts pulled into the future, setting a new question into motion: how would he handle the pressures that threatened to fracture their newly forged bond when the first false step appeared? Adam found himself waking up in the early hours, light streaming through the window, illuminating the blemishes on the walls that he had long ignored. Despite the promising conversations with Lily and Mia, a gnawing anxiety tugged at him. What did it mean for him to be present? Would being emotionally available truly change the course of their relationship, or was it simply masking deeper issues that lay buried beneath years of superficial interactions? He brewed a strong cup of coffee, the familiar aroma filling the kitchen, but it did little to ease the tightening sensation in his chest. Today would be different, he told himself. This was the second day of their planning. They were supposed to be reviewing itineraries over breakfast. He needed to bring vitality to that enthusiasm, not just for them, but so he could solidify his transformation. As they gathered around the table, the atmosphere felt charged with excitement, each of them contributing ideas for their adventures. Adam listened intently, nodding at every suggestion, but he couldn't shake the feeling that this was only a temporary reprieve from the past. He needed to figure out how to build on this foundation. Why not a hike? Mia suggested, her eyes brightening. We could explore some local parks, or even go to that new lookout point everyone's raving about. Sounds good to me. Lily chimed in, her enthusiasm surprising Adam. The exchange filled him with a fleeting sense of joy, but as the laughter flowed, an intense awareness settled in his gut. It was foreign, unsettling. What if they found joy and he couldn't sustain it? Awesome. I'll map out some trails tonight, he managed, forcing a smile despite the inner turmoil. As the day progressed, Adam tried to compartmentalize his anxieties, engaging fully in the discussions around their proposed adventures. Yet, a nagging feeling lingered. Did he truly have the emotional strength to endure whatever might arise once they were away, outside the comfort of familiar ground? That afternoon, as they all took a moment to relax, Adam noticed Lily with her head buried in her phone. His instinct was to chastise her for being distracted during family time, but he stopped short. Instead, he approached her carefully, the decision a testament to his resolve for deeper connections. Hey, what are you looking at? He asked softly, trying to step into her world rather than push her deeper into her own shell. She met his gaze, surprise mixed with vulnerability. Just scrolling through hiking photos. I'm finding some places that look really cool. Thought I'd share them later. Adam felt a spark of hope, recognizing this moment as a bridge to better understanding his daughter's interests. That's great. Maybe you could show me some of those pictures? It's cool to see what you're excited about. She hesitated, but eventually turned the phone to share. As they scrolled through vibrant landscapes and laughing groups, he felt the familiarity of warmth spreading. These were not just pictures, they were dreams and aspirations. The tension he had unearthed the day before seemed to wane ever so slightly. Then, a message popped up on her screen, and he caught a glimpse of a friend's text asking about their plans for the trip. You're making plans, huh? He remarked, half-jokingly. Yeah, a few, she replied, only her tone masking stealthy indifference. Just remember to make time for us, he cautioned, watching her eyes dart away at his fleeting yet firm stare. I will, Dad. Promise, she responded, but doubt lingered in the invisible space between them. The evening deepened into night, yet Adam found sleep elusive. He laid in bed, replaying every moment, dissecting their exchanges. He questioned whether he was compelling enough to encourage genuine connections. Perhaps he couldn't control his need for peace and understanding. He was left with a realization being present wouldn't guarantee their fixing. There would be false steps along the way. What if the same fractures that had previously driven them apart began to re-emerge, not from distance, but arising in their attempts at closeness? Adam sat up abruptly, the shadows in the room blending into thoughts swirling in his mind. The pressing need for authenticity beckoned, demanding to be addressed before it consumed him again. With a newfound resolve, he decided to face his uncertainties. It was a gamble, a frightening plunge into the unknown, yet the stakes felt more significant than before. He would confront his demons, the ones tethered to his past, head-on during this trip. What if he could not only rediscover who they were as a family, but also unveil deeper layers of himself in the process? It was a daunting thought, undercurrents of dread rumbled within him. Confrontation was looming, and he could feel the pressure brewing beneath the surface. He would have to stand firm against whatever revelations awaited them, challenging him to rise higher than he ever thought possible. As morning approached, a lingering question surfaced, demanding attention. What might he truly uncover about himself in the days ahead, about the family they could genuinely be, despite the potential for chaos? The morning sun broke through the curtains, washing the room in golden light as Adam stared blankly at the ceiling. With every passing moment, the weight of his decision loomed larger. He had resolved to be a better father, yet the thought of unearthing hidden emotions felt like tugging at a loose thread in a well-worn garment. It could unravel everything. He took a deep breath, steadying himself, and joined Mia and Lily in the kitchen, where they were bustling about with enthusiasm. The smell of pancakes wafted through the air, a comforting aroma that momentarily soothed his nerves. Yet, he felt a flicker of impatience thrumming beneath his skin. He needed to shift the focus and deepen their conversation. "Hey, girls," he began, his voice firm despite the fluttering anxiety. "Before we finalize our hiking plans, can we talk about what this trip means for us individually? I think that's important." Mia paused, fork mid-air, and exchanged glances with Lily. He could sense the hesitation. The air thickened with doubt. Had he overstepped? "What do you mean?" Lily asked, her brow furrowed slightly. "I just think we should share our thoughts. I want us to be honest with each other, you know? Not just about hiking," but he took a moment to gather his thoughts. "About how we feel as a family and where we're at." His heart raced. What if they resisted? What if they clammed up? Yet he gripped the edge of the table, grounding himself. "I'm tired of skimming the surface," he admitted, vulnerable yet resolute. "I'd like to know what you're thinking, what you're feeling before we get out there. It's important to me that we understand each other better." The silence that followed seemed to stretch endlessly. Mia shifted her weight and looked to Lily, who seemed lost in contemplation. Adam felt the tension tighten, a visceral knot forming in his throat. "Okay," Mia finally said, her voice small but determined. "I guess I can start. Sometimes, I feel like I don't know, like I'm not really part of anything, you know?" Her admission struck Adam like a brick. "What do you mean?" He pressed gently, urging her on. "It feels like you and Lily have your own world, and I'm just there, tagging along. I don't want to just be the little sister. Sometimes I want to be seen as someone special too." Adam's chest constricted. The realization that Mia felt sidelined pierced through him. This was far beyond a family trip, this was a moment teetering on the edge of genuine connection. "I didn't know you felt that way, Mia," he said, leaning forward slightly. "It's hard for me to grasp what everyone feels. I've been so focused on bringing us back together that I didn't even see you feeling lost. How can we change that?" Lily interjected, her voice steadier now. "It's not just you, Mia. I sometimes feel that too. Like, Dad is trying so hard to be the cool dad that I don't know if he's really trying to connect." Adam's stomach twisted painfully. Each word felt like a dagger, revealing his inadequacies. But this wasn't about him, it was about their progress. He pushed through the discomfort. "I want to be real with both of you," he responded, gesturing between the two. "I'm not perfect, and I don't have all the answers. I struggle with connecting too. I've been in my head for so long that he paused, swallowing hard. "I forgot to be just present, like, really present." Seeing the flicker of understanding dawn on their faces filled him with renewed hope. This transparency was the change that he could nurture. Mia hesitated before pushing ahead, emboldened. "Dad, what do you want from us? If we're going to try harder, what does that look like?" The question hung palpably in the air. Adam racked his mind. How could he articulate the complexity of his emotions and the vision he held for them? "I want us to support each other, and to do the hard work of really knowing each other, warts and all." I believe that's how we build stronger memories, and how we heal. It's not going to be easy. We may stumble, and I might not always get it right, but I want to take that risk with you both. The moment felt transformative, the depth of emotion hanging in the air like mist. For him, it was also clear. If he wanted to foster this connection, he would need to confront not only his past but the realities he had been avoiding: being vulnerable, being imperfect. As they moved into the planning phase once more, each suggestion hung anew with the promise of discovery. Tentatively, they built on one another's ideas, with newfound depth. Yet, as Adam spoke, a fear lingered: a possible return to the shadows he hoped to escape. As the meeting wrapped and Lily and Mia rushed to grab their backpacks, Adam's mind raced. What lurked beneath the surface of their emotions remained elusive. Were there still reservations haunting them? And what of his own uncertainties? Sitting in silence, Adam took a deep breath and sat with the tension still buzzing within him. The confrontation had begun, but it felt merely like the tip of an iceberg. Maybe next time, he thought, grasping a napkin in hand, I can push more. The real question now hung over him like an ominous cloud: what realities awaited them on their trip that would challenge this fragile openness, truths they might not be prepared to confront. The night before their trip was thick with unspoken words and lingering thoughts. Adam lay awake, staring at the dim ceiling, wrestling with the embryonic concept of what being a better father truly meant. The conversation with Mia and Lily had opened a door he had thought sealed shut, revealing an unsettling draft of emotions that threatened to pull him under. With a deep sigh, he swung his legs off the bed and dragged himself to the living room. The quiet hum of the house was oddly comforting, as if it were reminding him that he had created this space a sanctuary yet to evolve. He flicked on a lamp, spilling warm light across the room, illuminating the clutter of life: scattered shoes, books left half-read, and remnants of their hurried mornings. Each object pressed a weight into his chest, but it was time to unpack more than the physical world around him. Sitting on the couch, he began to reflect on how he'd instinctively avoided deeper emotional connections, opting instead for surface smiles and casual banter. Accepting the reality that vulnerability could lead to healing was a shocking revelation that both excited and terrified him. His phone buzzed, breaking the stillness like an unwelcome intrusion. It was a message from Lily. Are we really ready for this hike tomorrow? I just want it to be fun. Her words were a stark reminder that the weight of their emotional talk hung in the air. Fun wasn't just about the destination, it was about how they navigated the journey together. He typed back quickly, we'll make it fun. Just remember, we're in this together. Once the text was sent, his mind wandered. Suddenly, he felt an urge to write. He tiptoed into his study, the walls lined with photos of happier moments, celebrating family vacations and milestones. Sitting at his desk, he pulled out a notebook and began to scribble down thoughts, a collection of hopes, fears, and realizations. The act of writing felt cleansing, as if each stroke of the pen stirred the gunk inside, allowing clarity to emerge from confusion. He wrote about how he hoped Mia would never feel sidelined again, how important it was for him to acknowledge her individual brilliance, and how Lily needed to know that her emotions were just as valid and essential. The more he wrote, the more he uncovered deeper fears. Did he truly believe he was deserving of their trust, given the baggage of his own past? Could he risk opening up when it might lead to further disappointment? Closing the notebook, he felt slightly unburdened but apprehensive about tomorrow. Would he be able to catalyze deeper conversations during their hike? The question loomed large, threatening to pivot the family's dynamics into uncharted territory. As he attempted to find sleep again, he was struck by an internal truth: he was still learning to trust himself. The image of his daughters filled his mind, vivid, spirited, and deserving of a father who could stand with them, shapes his determination. It wasn't about perfection but rather the authenticity of their shared experience. They'd navigate through discomfort together, and together they would forge a new understanding. The sun began to rise, wrapping the house in soft light once more. The day had arrived, and Adam felt a renewed sense of purpose as he looked at the looming day ahead. There was a profound challenge in front of him, but with his heart open and mind steady, he was ready to confront it. How would they handle the hurdles waiting in the woods, the churning of truths that must emerge under the guise of family adventuring? with that thought lingering like an echo, he hopped into the shower, steeling himself for the push they were about to undertake both physically and emotionally. The day would be a test, a chance for revelations, connections, and perhaps the embrace of an unexpected truth. As he dressed, a sense of determination ignited. This hiking trip was no longer just an escape, but a metaphorical climbing of mountains far greater than the ones before him. Would he be strong enough to lead the way into emotional depths previously untraveled? Tomorrow's journey was about to begin, layering the complexity of family dynamics with every step. Just as he zipped his backpack, a new realization washed over him. What truths might the hike uncover, and how far would it take them from the edges of their comfort zones? The sun broke over the horizon, painting a vibrant canvas across the sky as Adam prepared for what promised to be more than just a hike. It was an opportunity for transformation. With each item he packed, he felt a tug of resolve and vulnerability that was familiar yet thrilling. Today would not just be about navigating trails, it would be a journey through the intricacies of fatherhood and forging connections. Arriving at the trailhead with Lily and Mia, Adam's anxiety intermingled with excitement. The crisp air bristled with the promise of an adventure, but he knew the day held an undercurrent of deeper meaning. This wouldn't be just a stroll in nature, it would challenge his newly adopted approach to opening up emotionally. He glanced at his daughters, who were laughing and joking as they pulled on their hiking boots, their spirits sending a ripple of hope through him. As they stepped onto the path, the familiar weight of responsibility wrapped around Adam. He was determined to facilitate a transformative day, one that could redefine their relationships. "Let us make a pact," he initiated, looking at both of them earnestly. "Today, we share honestly, no matter how trivial or uncomfortable. We're all in this together." The girls exchanged glances, their smiles faltering momentarily before they both nodded. The trail started gently enough, with laughter echoing among the trees, the soft crunch of leaves beneath their feet providing a comforting backdrop. Yet, deep down, Adam felt the tug of deeper waters waiting ahead. Everyone carried an emotional backpack filled with truths, fears, and hopes waiting to be unpacked. As the ascent began to steepen, so too did the challenge of conversation. "Dad, what is the real reason you wanted us to come on this hike?" Lily asked, her keen intuition piercing through his thoughts. It was as if she could sense he was wrestling with incongruities inside his mind, spurred by the desire for connection yet tempered by hesitation. To answer would mean diving into authenticity, shedding years of avoidance. Adam took a deep breath, pausing to appreciate the raw beauty surrounding them, plotting the course ahead. "I want to be closer to you both. I realized I've often kept emotions at bay, out of fear of what might happen if I let them out. But I don't want to live that way anymore. I want to be real with you." For a moment, silence hung in the air, but there was no mistaking the tension shifting. Lily nodded, her face contemplative. "I get that. Sometimes it feels like you're trying too hard to be chill instead of just being yourself." Her honesty was a soft revelation, triggering a shift inside Adam. "Yeah, I guess I didn't want to be a burden," he replied, vulnerability queuing in his throat. "But I need to learn to share my fears with you too. I want you to know that it's okay to feel lost sometimes." Just then, Mia chimed in, her voice unwavering. "That's something I've struggled with too. Trying to balance school, friends, and how I fit with you guys." The revelation resonated with Adam more than he anticipated. Each step climbed closer to their physical destination, each word brought them nearer to emotional clarity. It was no longer just a hike but a landscape where their past vulnerabilities laid themselves bare for meaningful confrontation. As they reached a scenic overlook, the expansive beauty of the valley stretched before them. Green hills kissed the horizon, painted with daily brilliance. They stopped, breathless not just from the exertion but from this moment crucial and transformative. "Look how far we've come," Adam said, turning to them, emotional candor laced into his voice. "Together, we've tackled a lot, haven't we? But looking ahead, I want to navigate things differently together. All of us." Lily's eyes glistened while Mia's smile broadened, the sincerity of his words resonating within both. In the wake of vulnerability echoed a promise and agreement to trust one another, to challenge the narrative that had long dictated their family dynamic. Descending from the overlook, Adam felt a renewed sense of clarity billowing inside him. He actively listened as they shared stories of high school pressures, friendships, and aspirations, each moment a building block of connection. They stopped to take pictures, capturing laughter in sunlight but carving deeper memories in the shadows of honesty and growth. Throughout the day, their conversations revealed layers of truth. Nothing in their journey remained untouched by apprehension, but they were becoming adept at traversing through the unknown. He witnessed Mia's passion blossom and Lily's confidence solidify. It was as if he observed resilience take shape. As the sun dipped lower in the sky, setting hues of gold and amber water falling over the earth, Adam turned to them again, feeling braver now than he had before. "I want you both to know that I'm committed to this change. I don't want to just be a dad who checks off boxes. I want to be emotionally available, sharing everything from laughter to dreams and even fears." "I'm proud of you for saying that," Lily said, her voice a melody of acceptance. "Being open feels good. We can help each other." And just as he thought he couldn't feel further validated in this moment, Mia reached over with her hand, encouragingly squeezing his shoulder. "We can all be there for each other, and that's what matters." The hike's culmination crystallized learning, fulfillment, and a sense of unity that Adam had yearned for. They climbed into the car, laughter spilling over their exchange, but more than that, an understanding settled around them, a kinship blooming from mutual respect and shared growth. Every step taken today mapped the beginning of a new chapter. The shadows of doubt dissipated, replaced by the warmth of connection. Adam realized he was not just a father, he was consolidating a family culture where every voice mattered, where each share strengthened the spaces in between. The engine hummed to life, and as they drove home, the sun set behind them, painting the world in shades of promise. For the first time in a long while, Adam felt a solid confidence settle, a recognition that he had achieved something monumental. He was ready to embark on this journey toward a deeper understanding, aware of the joys and challenges ahead. Together, they would transcend past hurts for a united future. Adam's heart sang with achievement, knowing he was no longer navigating the terrain of life alone. He would tackle every peak and trough, open and vulnerable, side by side with those he held most dear. Now was the time to act, to build on this foundation of truth, courage, and shared adventure. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive emotional stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, it really makes a difference. Comment your reactions and theories about the ending. What do you think lies ahead for Adam, Lily, and Mia? Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share. Only true fans of personal overcoming stories understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.